Hi, this is Jason from Sweaty Heroes Comic Bargains with another Sweaty Heroes Dollar Ben Bargains. And we're starting with Superman Man of Steel number 28, Triangle 1993-37. For those who don't know about the Triangle system, Superman had multiple titles back in the 90s. What they did is they established these triangles so that you could have a reading order for them. And ironically, they started it. It wasn't even in the middle of a storyline. It wasn't nowadays, if they were to do something like this, it'd be like beginning of a big storyline. Nah, it was just like just another Superman comic. But this would help you so that all the year's comics you could put in order. So if you were reading Superman, Superman the Man of Steel, Action Comics, and Adventures of Superman, you could put them in reading order and follow along that way. And it was really super helpful. It also super helpful when you go in the back issue bin and you're looking for these stories. This story in particular takes place right after the definite return to Superman. Superman's back. He has long hair. I actually am one of the people who didn't mind the long hair. I mean, I'm glad it was a temporary solution. I don't think he needed to keep it. He did keep it for like 4 or 5 years until like the anniversary in '98, I believe. So this is a super fun comic book. There's a lot of cool Daily Planet stuff in this as well, and a lot of side characters that you might not have heard of, but Superman doing really Superman things, and the plots and everything keep going. Lois and Clark are engaged in the series. I just highly recommend it. A lot of the Superman stuff from the Triangle era, apart from Death and Return of Superman, is in trades, but there are some like these issues that fall between the cracks of those trades that have been released so far. Go find them. Seaquest, ironically, was on at the same time as Lois and Clark, The New Adventure of Superman, which came out in the 90s. And that was a show that featured this guy from Jaws, remember him? And then it was basically Star Trek underwater. But there was a mini-series. This is from Nemesis Comics. But D.G. Chichester, who's done Daredevil. Keith Pollard, who is a legendary 1970s Marvel artist, is on this as well. This is kind of cool. Fantastic Four. This is the beginning of the new Fantastic Four storyline. And it's art by Arthur Adams, writing by Walter Simonson. But this introduces the new Fantastic Four of Spider-Man, Wolverine, Ghost Rider, and the Grey Hulk, I believe. Cool stuff. Yeah, there he is, Grey Hulk. Great storyline, but there was like hundreds of thousands of these comic books around, so you could find like one that's just a reading copy for only a cool $1. But one of the more popular storylines from that era. Star Wars Revelation. I'm doing this video in 2025. This is from 2024. This costs $6.99 US, which is like $25 Canadian. I'm jesting. $6.99 US is probably like $10 Canadian or so, or a little bit more maybe. But this is a nice big thick book, but it was in the dollar bin probably because he had overstock. But it's nice, cool, like in between stories. I really liked the Marvel Star Wars series that they did since they rebooted it in 2015. I like a lot of the main ones at least. I like they did a Darth Vader series. Greg Pak did this story for Darth Vader. You have Jango Fett in here. You have Dr. Aphra, which is an original character they really pushed for the comic books. Mace Windu from Phantom Menace is in here in a story. The High Republic, which is its own timeline. Thrawn is in here. It's just a nice little anthology of stories. Star Wars is also now in modern epics, which are about 500 pages, and 300 to 500 pages. Modern epics of Star Wars are really fun to read. I have read a lot of the single issues of the modern Star Wars. So I would also highly recommend the original Marvel Star Wars as fun to read too. Going back to DC, although I probably should have started this, is a Justice League comic around the time, right before, we're only months away from the death of Superman. It's funny to think that as someone who was in high school at the time, we didn't really know the death of Superman was happening until actually the issues were coming out, because then, the story started picking up in the media, because back then you didn't have really the internet to look upon these things about things coming up. So when people heard about Doomsday, it's like, oh, Doomsday, and then it's the death of Superman, and then people heard about the death of Superman, but at first people thought, we're not gonna care, but then it's like it blew up and everyone cared. But this is Guy Gardner, Green Lantern, being the pompous guy that he is on the Justice League America team. But this is by Dan Jurgens, who was part of the Death of Superman storyline. So these are really fun Justice League issues. I think Dan Jurgens is an underappreciated superhero, Superman artist and DC artist. I really wish that he had got a chance to do Spider-Man Beyond. He did do Spider-Man for only like 6 issues during the Clone Saga, 7 issues maybe. But that's unfortunate, because I wish he could have done like a real Peter Parker Spider-Man. But Dan Jurgens, Justice League America, you can find a lot of these for $1, but they're a lot of fun. And it is B-listers. It's characters that you won't know as much. This guy is actually Martian Manhunter. Spoiler alert, but he is Martian Manhunter, disguised as another character. And then you have Fire and Ice, and you have all these other minor characters. Booster Gold probably being more popular, one of the most popular one on this page, and Guy Gardner, of course, because Nathan Fillion played Guy Gardner in 2025 Superman. And then finally, always in the dollar bin, sometimes in the quarter bin, sometimes in the 10 cents bin, you'll find Valiant. But Valiant might get a bad rap because there's thousands of copies that, they shot up in value for a while because of speculators, and then went back down in value. But a lot of these Valiant, I believe, are really still great reads. Come on. If you don't want if you want another superhero or comic book character besides Marvel or DC to do as a big screen, why can't you do Turok Dinosaur Hunter? That would be awesome to see a Turok Dinosaur Hunter movie, who was a Gold Key character who they rebooted for this series. Turok is an awesome character. Go get these $1 comics, and we'll see you next time. Bye.